Hey guys, in this video, I'm going to be talking about some of the recent banners and the changes to just like the Brave Exvius economy on the global server. And to join me to discuss this, we've got Elmsmore. So, welcome back, Elmsmore. You can say hello.
Thank you for having me. Hey, everybody.
Elmsmore, I asked him to join to talk about this because that way you can get kind of two perspectives from two different like kinds of players. Myself, I personally do spend on the game. I buy bundles mostly for like Clash of Wills units. That's mostly it, but I will do them and I'll buy like the cheap bundles like the Fountain of Lapis and the Adventurer Pass. Elmsmore is like a bit of a heavier spender. He buys a decent chunk of the bundles, so you're getting two perspectives from like a really light spender and a heavy spender to get like some viewpoints on how we both feel Global has been handling like the overall economy for banners, bundles, deals, etc. So before we started, Elmsmore, we were chatting a little bit, and you said, like, in your opinion, recently you felt like just the overall handling of Global's like economy has been getting worse. So do you want to like talk anything in general about that before we go over the banners and stuff? Elmsmore, you might have broken your microphone again. We were having this problem earlier. I don't hear anything.
Uh, Thank you for letting me know. Yeah, I
There,
was
there you go.
adjusting something. Sorry. So yeah, like I was saying, we're missing fragments. We're missing a bunch of things, specifically towards premium banners, and now we have Glex premium banners, which was I was not expecting at all, especially when it's a unit that everybody was expecting and wanting to get, like Esther, specifically talking about her. But overall, so many banners have gone by lately. Even non-premium banners are getting reduced. Let's say free to play, friendly amount of shards, things like that. So me, on average, let's say I get about 100,000 lapis a week, on average a week. But that was up to about up to the Esther banner. After that, I mean, the last 2 weeks of banners to me weren't that important, so I didn't chase, so I didn't buy more since then. But when I stopped doing that, it also made me think, like, is it even worth it at this point? Like, it's just very depressing uh, because they're not really trying to help the community. It feels like they're not, anyways, and it feels like they're not giving us a good break, and they're just adding to more heavier pulling when they could kind of spread it out and still give us some little perks here and there, especially towards chasing EX3, because so many of us do. And I'm not the highest spender in the game, but I think I share the same emotion as everybody else towards the game at the moment.
Definitely. So people can have some idea of what we're talking about, and you can see like a pattern. I've spent some time to go and like backtrack and catalog how the banners have been handled for the past like 4 to 5 months, starting with the Laura Croft banner, and then you can see here on the list we've got them in order with the banner formats. So not included is the 5,000 lapis for 50 shards. Those have been the exact same for every single banner, and they've always been available, with the exception of premiums. Premiums have been pretty static, where they have not had any changes ever since the original premium with Tifa and Aerith. They have always been, so we'll show here. The premiums I have highlighted in orange. They're always 60,000 for the pity, and then the second pity is 72,000. But we're only going to talk about going to the first pity for these things. So 60k, there's never any shards on the banner itself or in the shop. You get 50 shards for VIP coins after 2 weeks. They do cost triple. You cannot top off the login shards. You do get 30 login shards, but you cannot top those off with the 20 extra shards in the Lapis shop. And then they always have the shards for bundles and the Lapis bundle. We're going to talk about that at the end. But yeah, so the premiums, we're not going to focus too much on that because, like I said, those have always been the exact same thing, including our global exclusive premium. Esther, she followed the exact same format. So that's the premium stuff. And we're not really going to focus on that because that hasn't changed. The big thing we're going to be talking about is the changes that have happened recently, because we've had like a steady pattern for like basically the entire duration of Neovisions. It's been just a steady pattern, some slight fluctuations here and there. But we've always had the same kind of format until recently. It just really started going downhill very recently, and that's what we're going to focus on. So just some examples. The stuff in yellow are limited banners, either just holiday banners for global or collaborations for global, just limited time stuff. So the one common thing on limited time banners you'll notice is the VIP shards, which are available immediately. You can always buy 100 unit shards from the limited banners. So that has been the case all the way into the Xenogears banner, which we're going to come to in a moment. But just from all the way from the beginning, all the way back to I think even the Kingdom Hearts banner, it was 100 shards, and then up until Chow, and then it stopped. So we're going to get to that in a minute. And then it changes up and down how many shards are on the banner plus the summon shop. So that includes the step up banner, which might have shards directly on it, or the tokens you get from pulling, which you can spend in the shop for shards. Combined, it's kind of back and forth between 50 or 100. So some of them, for example, Lara Croft, had 50 in the shop but none on the banner. Some of them, like Roka, had 50 on the banner itself and 50 in the shop. Same thing for Paws. Oliveira had only 50 in the shop, none on the banner. But you notice here that the pity price is slightly different depending on if they had extra shards. So you can scroll all the way to the right over here, and you can see the total amount of shards you would get from pulling all the way to pity. And on the far right, this is the ratio of lapis per shard. So for example, on the Lara Croft banner, you got a grand total of 200 shards from VIP shop, banner stuff, login shards, plus the 2200. And that would total up to, with the 36k pity, to one shard was valued at 180 lapis. For the Roka and Paws banner, one shard was valued at 210 lapis. For the Oliveira banner, it was a slightly worse ratio because you got less shards, so it was one shard to 240. And then, as an example, the premiums are, of course, a terrible ratio. It's one shard valued at 750 lapis. So you can see it's a pretty steady ratio from around between 210 to 240-ish. The Legend of Mana collaboration was actually really, really good value. The best value we've had on this whole list at... actually, the Chow looks like it's even better. Chow and Tiana had even better ratio, it seems. But, yeah. So, just looking all the way up into the Tulian banner. So, basically, Elmsmore, are you following along? Hopefully the viewers are too, the format that we've been having.
Absolutely.
Okay, so so it's a pretty steady format where, the shards, for the collaborations or limited times, it was usually a better value because they're limited time. And then the permanent units, it's slightly worse value, but still not too bad. Then we come down to the Tulian banner, and you can see the difference is the price on the Tulian banner. The big changes are highlighted in red. The Tulian banner price had a jacked up price of 9,000 extra lapis. Now, this is obviously because we had that global exclusive vision card. It's I'm not confused why this happened. The Leave It To Me card, it's super powerful. It's basically a premium card. But it wasn't like a free perk on the banner. It jacked up the price by 9,000 extra lapis in comparison to the other banners of this format. So this is the one with 50 only between, so 50 here is 36k, 36k. So you see the same exact format we're used to. Whenever you have 50 shards total from pulling and it costs 36k, it's the same ratio. But Tulian, because we had that special card on the banner, it jacked up the price, and the shard to lapis ratio went all the way up to 300 per. So we'll stop here for a moment, and I'll get your opinion, Elmsmore. Do you think that card was... Do you think that was handled well? Because it's a great card. I love the card. I use it constantly. I'm going to be using it for a very long time. But for someone, for example, maybe someone just wanted Tulian and didn't really want the card, but the card being stuck on the banner jacked up the price by an extra 9,000 lapis. Do you think that was a good way to handle that, or should they have changed it? What are your thoughts on the global exclusive card for Tulian?
So the way what I think is that it's very it's a double-edged sword. At the same time, it's a fantastic card as you mentioned. It's great, but like you said, for somebody who just wants Tulian, and because the rates are so random, it's basically playing the lottery. If you just want to go for Tulian, is it worth paying extra to get his pity? I mean, especially for Tulian, I don't know. I don't think so personally. They could have handled it slightly different. Maybe put it in the shop that if you want this card, you got to pull for 10 more tokens, for example. That would have been separate than going to pity to get the Tulian for people who just want a Tulian and stop there. So it's kind of a gimmicky thing. Again, the card is fantastic. So you can console yourself in that sense, but for somebody who's on a strict budget, who is fully free to play, I think what I said about just adding more, like putting it in the actual units shop and requesting more tokens for it would have been a better way of handling it.
That makes sense. Um, I think they also could have just put the card in like a bundle itself. For example, the Paws of Prosperity, the little boots that we got that was like a special item that gives you the LB per turn. Um, they sold that literally directly for 5,000 lapis. So it's just a plain old standalone bundle, 5,000 lapis, and you get it. Period. So
That
I
works. That works too. It's just that I would have, for example, the reason I gave that example that I did is because for people who want to chase Tulian, at the same time, if they do go further to get the Tulian, then they have those extra tokens to get the card.
That is true, but the problem with that is the problem that I personally see with that is like for someone that wants both. At that point, you're saying it would cost 10 extra pulls to get the card after getting Tulian's Pities. Is that am I understanding that correctly?
Pretty much, right? It kind of evens out to the amount of lapis it's required, but it would be optional at that point. When you get your pity, you got Tulian, you're done, or you pull more to get more tokens to go buy it from the Tulian shop.
That's an option, I guess. I personally, like I said, I personally would rather these cards be just stuck in a standalone bundle. So if they're valuing the card at an extra 9,000 lapis beyond the usual, like 36k, I would rather the card be stuck in a standalone bundle for 9,000 lapis. And I personally probably would have bought it. I almost certainly would have bought the card if it was just a standalone, the card and nothing else for 9,000 lapis. I probably would have bought it for 10,000. Beyond that, it would have been a harder choice. But like it's an amazing card, and I have no regrets going for that card, even though Tulian is not like super important. That card, I am happy that I pulled for that card. I feel like I'm gonna use that for a long time. But I do wish I wasn't forced to go for Tulian for it. That being said, I guess I kind of sort of see the business side of it because, I ended up going all the way 45,000 because, I didn't have great luck in the banners. I went the whole 45K. Um, and I guess if the card was a standalone, I would have only gone 9K and I would have just bypassed Tulian entirely. So I guess it did get me to spend 45K for Tulian plus the card, which was probably their idea in the first place. But as a player's perspective, I would have rather not had to do that.
Oh, for sure. That's why my version it still fits their business method, but people who just want a Tulian can pull out.
Yep. And then after Tulian, we had the Lena and Dorgan banner, which went back to the exact same format, 240 lapis ratio, 36K, 50 on there, 50 on the VIP, and then 20 plus 30 login gives you 50, 150 shards total. And this gets you EX2. By the way, all these 150 or more shards, like literally all of these other than premiums, if you go to Pity, you get EX2 guaranteed by the time VIP shards come out. Even if you got none on banner without spending any cash, you would get EX2 guaranteed because you would get the 50 VIP, the 30 plus 20 from login and Lapis shop, and then the 50 on banner or in the summon shop. It kind of fluctuates. Sometimes they're on banner, sometimes they're in summon shop. But you always get the 50, or you always used to get the 50 from pulling. And then Chow came out. He was the same format as Tiana, Zoma, etc. It's a 160 ratio. And then we had the Xenogears banner. This was like the start of Doomsday. This is when things started to go really, really far downhill. And there was a lot of backlash from players for obvious reasons. So let's go ahead and look at the format. So the Pity was 40,500, which isn't, it isn't the worst. For example, the pity on the Dragon Quest, not the Dragon Quest, the Legend of Mana stuff, was 42,000. That was a high pity. The pity on Paws and Heroica was 42,000 as well. So they were, we've had high pities before. This isn't even the highest. The problem is they removed all the shards from the summon shop, all the shards from the VIP shop. They nerfed all the shards from the summon shop and the banner itself. And they cut the shards in half on the VIP shop. This is the first time they have ever done this in the history of NeoVision's era. On a limited or collaboration banner, they have cut the VIP shards in half. That is the first time ever. They might even continue to do this for collaborations. We don't know, but it happened on Xenogears. They even took away the Lapis shards. You couldn't even top off your login shards. So for those of us that had 30 login shards, they're literally just dead in the water. You could not top those off without spending cash. Spending cash, of course, has been an option. But not only that, this is when they started nerfing even the cash spenders. So for those that don't ever spend and not really sure what I'm talking about, the shard bundle for cash, for most banners going back for a long time, you could spend 50 USD, different depending on your local currency, but 50 USD, you would get 50 shards, and you would get 13,000 lapis on top of that to use, for more pulls, for your next banner, whatever you want. So it was better value it was always better value to buy a unit's bundle shards for 50 USD, because you would get 50 shards and you would get 13,000 lapis, which is a lot better value than buying lapis from the store. Like, you should never ever buy lapis from the store unless you're like a really, really big spender that you go through all the bundles. But for really light spenders, you always buy lapis through these bundle deals first. You can only buy a certain amount of them, but they're always a better price than just buying straight up lapis. But they nerfed it. They took away all the lapis from the shard, and they stuck in some EX tickets or whatever, which is, it's pretty worthless. They're pretty worthless, just to be straight up honest. So what do you think, Elms, about the way they nerfed the cash bundle here?
Well, obviously that was aggravating. You can tell that it's just greed, and they want you to spend more and chase more, and which I did. I don't know, I think that banner I spent like 160k lapis on that one.
Oh, jeez.
So you feel it. You feel it because you don't have those extra free shards or paid shards that you should already have banked, so you don't need to chase even more units to drop on the banner.
Mm-hmm.
So you do feel it, and in your example, in your spreadsheet, you do show that the lapis to shard ratio has skyrocketed as opposed to any other regular non-premium banner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
especially limited banners.
Yeah, especially it's a collaboration. This is more than 3 times more expensive than every other limited collaboration. This is 506 lapis per unit shard on the Xenogears banner, and in the news, the Brave Exvius team said their reasoning for this was because the Xenogears units are so meta. And you can arguably maybe make a case for Graf, but id had the same price increase, and he is in no way whatsoever deserving of a price increase. So, a lot of people are Xenogears fans, and they were really upset because they wanted id. They didn't care about the fact that he wasn't that strong. It's just id, and he's a cool character, and they wanted him. And the price of getting him was so dramatically increased over all the previous stuff. And Graf, this is my personal opinion, I don't think he's even all that special. I didn't even pull for him.
Graf is not even that OP. Come on, I'm not as good as remembering how the difference at when it came out on GP versus Global, but he's not even that OP. I put him on par with Tavis and all of the previous premium units that did come out. I put him on par or maybe slightly above or below, depending on the challenge. But I definitely don't agree with their statement that he's an overpowered unit, so they felt that they needed to get more money from us for it.
Oh, I know. And then after that, we had the Kane and Rydia banner. So this one was, again, 45,000 lapis, but just like the Tulian banner, this one does come with a global exclusive vision card. So that's probably the reason it's so expensive. But unlike Tulian, they have removed shards again. So because they took away all the shards from the banner and the summon shop, the lapis to shard ratio on the Kane and Iridia banner was 450. So this is like, again, a huge price jump from everything else. It does have the card, but compared to tooling with the card, it was only 300 lapis to shard ratio. On the Kane and Iridia banner, it's 450. So it's literally a 50% increase in price for the Kane and Iridia banner.
On top of that, if I could add, if I recall correctly, this is when they changed the purchase bundles too. No more lapis, some bullshit tickets.
No, this
And
one, I actually talked to a few people from what I couldn't remember specifically, but from what I'm being told is they did have the shard for bundle cashier, so it did have the 50 USD for 50 shards and 13k lapis, but it was a purchase limit of one instead of two like usual. So that was
okay.
the big deal. So the value wasn't changed, but they cut the amount of you can buy. You can only buy one instead of two. So it was still a nerf, but it didn't nerf the value, just the quantity.
So it wasn't the when because they've had that for like a couple of banners now. I thought that that's when it started when they had no more lapis, but it had 50 shards and tickets, NV tickets or whatever.
Yeah, it had. It started with the graph banner. The graph banner was the first time ever they have removed the lapis from the bundle, from the shard, the cash bundle for shards. Period. And then for Kane, it came back, but they cut it in half. And then for the Esther banner, standard premium. And for those that don't know, on the shard bundles for cash for premium units, it's still the same 50 USD, and you get 13,000 lapis. The difference is instead of 50 shards, you only get 25 shards for premiums. Now, that's always been the case all the way as far back as like Sephiroth and Tifa. It's been the case for Yuna, Aura, and Tybus. It was the same case for Esther. So you could spend 50 USD and get 25 shards plus 13,000 lapis. And you could buy it twice for Esther, like you've always been able to for all these previous things.
My complaint for Esther again is that why make her premium? I mean, do you have to be that greedy? It's a unit that everybody anticipated. It's a unit that everybody wanted. It's a Glex unit. Why introduce that with a unit that why introduce that with a unit that everybody wanted for so long? So that to me is just a greedy move. Didn't need to make it premium. For the fact that it's the same type of premium as any other premium, okay, yeah, fine. But why make it premium in the first place is my biggest complaint for Esther. That to me is just a greedy move for a unit that's beloved and wanted from so many people.
Yeah, it is kind of true that it does seem like Esther being premium was sort of like a cash grab because while she is absolutely very strong, no question, I do feel like Esther has the same overall value as like Laura Croft. Laura Croft is, I would say Laura Croft is the same or even more valuable than Esther just because she's been top of the meta since the day she came out. Even still, even with Esther still out, I still think Laura Croft is more important than Esther because like a 90% defense break is like critical in Dark Visions. Like you have to have that if you want to rank really highly. And Laura Croft brings that plus good damage, and also she's like literally the number one damage dealer in Clash of Wills, including out damaging Esther in Clash of Wills. So Lara Croft was only 36k with a 180 ratio. Esther was 60k with a 750 ratio for charge to Lapis. So yeah,
Yeah,
I do agree.
and the rates. I have to make a mention of the rates too. The rates not being better at all for Esther. I went 260k for Esther, but that's just my luck. I know it's a lottery, blah blah blah, but again, I think it's a very greedy move for such an anticipated unit. So that's really literally the only complaint is that it's just a greedy move from the company.
Yeah, it was. I personally would have rathered Esther not be premium. But at the very least, she is strong. It's not like for example, Yuna is a premium, and I don't think Yuna deserves that premium price tag. Esther at least could arguably deserve the price tag. Yuna, not so much.
Well, with that, it's kind of like something that I wouldn't complain about because that's following the game that this global version is based on. So fine, we knew was coming as premium, but Esther again, it's a Glex. Everybody anticipated her, everybody wanted her, and then paf, they throw the premium banner at you, and like you said, Lara is a really old character by now, and she is phenomenal, and that banner was great, and I mean it was reasonably priced. Everybody could go after it, free to play friendly, but then you bring in something like Esther that everybody loved. not free to play friendly, super hard to chase, and again, the rates not changing on global versus how they are in JP. But anyways, that's a different argument there. But to me, it was just a very, very greedy move.
Mm-hmm. And then the reason I decided to make this video is because now we're getting into the most recent banners of Edge and Leftia. Now, for the Tulian banner, the price increase was, because of the card. You can make that argument, and it's obvious. The Graph banner, I don't agree with it, but the argument was the Graph banner and the Kane banner, they were like really powerful premium level units, which is kind of true. Kane and Graph do premium levels DPS. But then we get to the Edge banner. Edge is hot garbage. Like, he is just bad. Like, really freaking bad. And his price was increased to 42,000 with only 50 shards and no perks. There's no card on this banner. There's no special perks. Edge is a bad unit, a bad STMR, a generic TMR that we've already had with Tulian. So Edge has no redeeming factors for this price increase, but still Global jacked up the price to 42,000 for no reason. As you see, the Lapis ratio is 280 here. Also, he has the nerfed cash bundle. Like the Xenogears banner, Edge has no Lapis in the cash bundle. If you buy his shard bundle for cash, all you're getting is some janky tickets that you don't want. It's going to get you like an off-banner Axstar or something.
Cloud. It's going to get Cloud.
or Cloud. Like these EX tickets, like obviously it's an RNG. You could get something valuable, but like wouldn't everyone rather 13,000 Lapis in their bundle over an EX Neovision? I certainly would, because that's like half the way to the next banner or something. Like, this is terrible. On top of that, this is brand new. Now they're nerfing the actual straight-up Lapis bundles for cash. Now, I personally have never bought these. I wasn't even aware of this because I just don't buy these, period. I never even look at them. But I was talking to a friend before the video, and he pointed out how they've also started nerfing this. So, Elmsmore, do you buy these? The one I'm talking about this is the one where I think it's either
28K Lapis with 2 or 6 premium tickets. No, I stopped. When they started doing that, I was like, this is hot garbage. Now they give you 20K Lapis and like 6 random tickets. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, so they nerfed just the straight up value. Like, this is like not like a trade off. This is just a straight up reduction in value. They have just kept the same price and lowered the Lapis you get. So they are just like raising the price of Lapis. That's just all there is to say to it. They have just increased the price. And like I personally wasn't even aware of this because I don't buy this bundle, but on Elmsmore, you're letting me down. I kind of figured you bought these bundles and you would know more about it. I don't have the exact details.
I know exactly what they are, but I don't buy them because they got nerfed.
So
I always keep looking because week to week I was buying everything in the shop. Week to week it would refresh, I'd reset. I would buy everything there. The 28K Lapis bundle, the shard bundles with the Lapis. But when they started removing Lapis or reducing Lapis from the bundles, obviously I take a look and I'm like, well, now you're just trying to rob me. Literally, you're robbing me. I mean, first of all, it's already super expensive, but fine, you can argue cases and whatever. But then you go from acceptable to worse. Why would I give you my money?
Makes sense, yeah. And then the current banner, Lefty and Javi, as far as pity and shards, we're back to the standard that we've had since like Oliveira, Maeve, Shinju and all that. So the pity and shard situation on Javi and Leftia is similar, but they have the nerfed bundles as well. Again, the cash bundle only gives an EX ticket, and it took all the Lapis out, and then the actual Lapis bundle has been dropped in value. They lowered the amount you get when you purchase the bundle. So yeah. So
to mention on these ones, for example, Edge and Lefty, I skipped those completely because, for example, normally I would still buy the bundles because I'd say if I ever get them randomly, it's an opportunity maybe to EX2 them directly. But because of all these nerfs, it's just not worth it.
Yeah, they've been increasing the price. So do you have any speculation, like why do you think they're doing this? I've seen a lot of people give their speculation. Like people were saying, oh, it's approaching the end of service, and Gumi's cashing out, which is I don't think that's the case. I think that is way too dramatic. I don't think that's the case. Other people are saying it's because like the JP version is bringing in less money and they're being squeezed by Square Enix to bring in money. Other people are saying it's because of that news we got. Like Gumi, the actual parent company, Gumi invested in cryptomancy or whatever, or cryptocurrency, and and now they're strapped for cash. So, what are your thoughts? Why do you think they're just increasing the prices across the board?
I think they're just wetting their feet and testing the waters. Personally, I don't think any of those reasons are accurate. That's my belief. It's just my thought. So it could be accurate. I don't know, but I don't think so.
Oh yeah, it's just speculation.
Yeah, so I think they're just testing the waters and see how much they can grab from people. Because you can Google, because it's a publicly traded company, you can Google how much money they're making off of their different mobile games and everything. And for a nearly 6-year-old game, it's still not that bad. It's still bringing in money. So they're testing in the waters. Again, that's what I believe, to see how far they can go with it, and maybe they'll revert back, or maybe they won't. Maybe they see that they're making more money now, and they'll just leave it that way. But that's my belief. I think they're just testing the waters and see how far they can go.
Okay, okay. The players have definitely had some backlash though, because it was so bad with the Xenogears banner that they had to put out like a producer letter saying, like, basically, we're sorry for raising the prices so crazy.
Yeah, that helps a lot. Thank you for saying you're sorry. Like, no, like that's not acceptable. I mean, come on. First of all, this you have to remember that this is a game. I mean, Final Fantasy is a children's game. Like, how is this acceptable? Anyways, going beyond that, a lot of us do pay, including myself. Obviously, like I said, I'm a pretty big spender, but how is this acceptable? Try to manage it better. Try to. I really, I mean, that's something I'd have to be in a round table with Hiroki and what's his face directly and speak to them and say and explain to me, give me reasons what you're doing. And they're still not as transparent as they promised to be. They still don't share that much information as they promised to do years ago. So, we all of us were playing because we love Final Fantasy, right? So that's why we stick around. And they promised us about a 10-year lifespan for this game, and I do believe in that. So I think at the very least we're going to have 10 years of this game. But if they're going to destroy the game themselves, the pleasure of us spending or playing the game, I mean, they're going to regret it, and they're just going to lose the opportunity maybe to even make more money down the road by being slightly less greedy and having more fun with their community.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, the thing for me is, like, the Graph and the Kane banner happened. They put out that producer's letter around the Esther banner, like around this time frame, saying, we realize, we're sorry, we're gonna make it better. But then, like, the Edge banner came out the next week, and it was again a price increase for no reason. Like, this Edge banner, like this one right here, kind of irritates me way more than Graph and Kane. Because the Graph and Kane, I could see the reasoning even if I don't agree with it. The Edge banner, this is uncalled for. This was completely uncalled for to jack up the price on the Edge banner in relation to the shard availability, and then to nerf all the cash stuff. So, yeah, I already said that. At this point, I'm starting to repeat myself.
And
so.
plus, in between, you have to remember that they increased the price on Edge. The way again, this is speculation from my part. The way I see it is that we have those raids, we have those King Mog events. We don't have much bonus. Like high-end bonus I'm talking about. Yes, they give us a lot of under units. They give you a certain percentage, but high-end bonus units. So they know that some people will pull just to get even a higher bonus, which I used to do. I used to pull on units just to get better bonus rates on the raids on the King Mog. So I think that's one of the reasons they did it, to see how many people would actually pull. But you have to remember that, where's our Barbaricia? Where's our Rubicante? Yes, they said down the road, but it's been like a year they said Medina is going to be down the road. Like, come on.
Oh yeah, the missing unit upgrade. That's actually a whole nother topic that I completely agree with. I'm frustrated with, but that's probably not directly related to the unit shard availability situation.
Well, in a way it is to me, because without those units you don't have the bonus. So if you're like me and you want to chase that extra bonus to get even pulls and stuff, you are going to pull on this banner, which is in result more expensive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. That's true. But all right, I just wanted to discuss with you, for a bit, bring some awareness to what's going on with the shard situation. So, people that are watching the video, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you think this is going to turn around? They're going to bring it back to the reasonable prices we've had with, like, Mave, Pause, etc. Or do you think it's going to keep getting worse? Let me know what you think in the comments. So, thanks again, Elmsmore, for joining me.
Just as a final note, as a joke though, maybe Hiroki needs gas money. Gas prices are more expensive now.
Oh, geez, it definitely is for my area as well. I know, it's crazy. It's crazy.
But thank you very much for having me, Cynthia. It was good to unload a little bit and talk this out. Again, we're a community. You do so much for the community. I appreciate it, and everybody appreciates you.
Thank you very much. All right, I will see you guys for Dark Vision stuff. In 2 days, actually, not tomorrow. Anyway, see you next time.